Hello and welcome to Movie Theater Time Machine, the very special episode for this Christmas season special, or whatever you want to do, whatever you call it, whatever you're doing. Today we are joined by a great actor. And have you ever said, hey, it's that guy? We have pretty much the original that guy here. So it's Mr. Larry Hankin joining us. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Well, now I'm doing great because you just did a commercial for my book. It's called That Guy. That's
And we have,
great.
and we
Perfect.
have our podcast agent Steve told us a lot about it. So I mean, I gotta ask first, what came about doing that now? How did that come together?
I had nothing else to do. I mean, that's why I do anything.
Yeah,
If I don't have something to do, I'll find something to do. And I didn't have anything to do, so I said, "Well, let's write a book." I mean, it's pretty simple. You just, bumble through life and you figure out something to do every day. That's what I did. I figured out, and it took me all the way through COVID.
yeah,
That's why I had all this time, and I
yeah,
was in the house with that 2 years of COVID, which is a great title for a book. 2 years of
yeah.
COVID.
2 years.
So I was in the house and I was sequestered.
Yeah,
So I thought, man, what can you do sitting in the house? I thought, well, man, writing. You write. That's what you do. So I'll write a book, and I wrote a book about being that guy.
yeah,
All my stuff in show business, all the episodes and movies that I've done, and it's a cautionary tale. Really, it's not your ordinary Hollywood. Wow, wasn't it wonderful? I'm living my dream. It's not that.
yeah,
It's it's all the other stuff.
yeah.
That's what it's about. All the other stuff. Right before you go on camera, right after you come off camera, and all the weirdness that goes on before they go, all right, action, and then cut.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about action, anything between action and cut. I just talked about the stuff right before action and right after action. That's where Hollywood is at. That's Hollywood.
Is
And I
it,
just a little warning to you people who want to be actors.
yeah. I'm sure you have like a real lot to be able to tell us. I mean, with stories like I want to pick your brain on some things. There's you have had work with Lucille Ball all the way down to The Rock, pretty much really.
Boy, you just hit it, man. That's my career right there. You
Yeah,
you just put it right boom. From Lucille Ball to
I'm
the
that
Rock.
good.
That's it, man. That's what my book is about.
Yeah. I mean, you got everyone in between. I mean, it just seems to be
Woo!
there's the Kevin Bacon game where you can
Right.
contain six people, and with within.
6 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, was that? I mean, should there really be the 6 degrees of Larry Hankin?
Wow, I don't know. Kevin Bacon is pretty ubiquitous, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't. There's certain levels, you just stay away from. I'm not going to climb that mountain. I don't know.
yeah,
I'll give you that.
yeah,
I don't know, but thanks
yeah.
for the comparison.
Okay. Oh, we appreciate that. I mean, you've had one of the stories that I really wanted to know, and I know you were roommates with Carl Gottlieb,
Oh
who
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
who we had on the show last year, just about the
Really?
actually, yeah.
Oh boy, if I'm following in my roommate's footsteps,
Yeah.
great.
Just
That's
about his
cool. No,
time.
he's responsible for me being on your show. I mean,
R-
he kidnapped me, kind of. I asked him when we graduated. Became friends in Syracuse University.
Yeah,
He was in the drama department. I was in the industrial design department. So I'm a painter. That's my paintings up there. So I got into an altercation on graduation day, and I didn't want to be an industrial designer. I really didn't. I thought it was going to be about art. I didn't do any research. My parents said you can't go out of town to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. I just didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to do anything. And so I said, well, let me go to Syracuse. That's not too far. I was living in New York in Far Rockaway, and it was just up the river a while. So, whoa, that was a nice. What did you just do
I was
there?
just grabbing my notes actually. I just
Oh, okay.
so it just gave some weird thing on the
But
camera.
he's trying to crawl in the camera. So I went to Syracuse, met Carl there. And when I discovered that it wasn't design, it was industrial, was the way it shaped out. So I didn't want to go into industrial design. I wanted to go into design, and that was a mistake. So I went through the whole course, but I asked Carl, I said, where are you going when we graduated at the same time? Where are you going? Because I don't want to go to Detroit and design cars, which is what I was going to do. I mean, that's what they were aiming me for. So he said, I'm going to Greenwich Village and become a writer. And I said, wow, man, Greenwich Village, that sounds cool. Do you want a roommate? And he said, yeah, I don't have any money. He didn't have any money. Neither did I. So I hooked up with him, and that's how I got into show business. He was going off into writing, and I had nothing to do. I had to clean the bars. I bust bars, a bar from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., after the last call. That was my show business. That was Greenwich Village. But I had my nights free to go in before 2 a.m. to go to work. So I'd hang around the village, and the bar was in the village, in the middle of it, all these coffee houses. So I would hang around the coffee house. I just go in and just sit until, they closed around 12 midnight or 1, and then I just hang around and go to work. So I was watching these comedians on stage, open mic nights, Thursdays, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I noticed that the one thing that I noticed wasn't the comedians, it was the open mic night audiences. They had such patience. In other words, if you weren't funny, I mean, you got 3 minutes, open mic night. You got 3 minutes to 5 minutes. And if you weren't funny, they didn't boo, they didn't hiss, they didn't do it. They sat there and they drank their coffee and they waited for you to get off the stage. 3 minutes. I got 3 minutes. Go ahead. I got a full cup of coffee here. So, and also they didn't want to boo because they were there to watch their friend get up. So if they booed me, I was going to boo their friends, and they knew that. Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
So everybody was very patient and very quiet. And if you were funny, they laughed. And if you weren't funny, they would just wait. And I thought that was so kind and cool of them that I wasn't afraid to get up on the stage, because I have stage fright. I get stage fright. And once I get up there, I'm cool, but stage fright, everything. It's a great quote of Bob Dylan in one of his songs. He said, those things that are big in the distance get smaller close up. Great quote. And that's the way I figured it. Wow. Once I got up there was nothing. It was cool. So, and they were kind. And if I wasn't funny, they didn't laugh. And if I was funny, they laughed. And it was cool. And I just kept doing that until I always got laughs all the time, for 3 minutes. Wow. And then 5 minutes. Then they let me do 10. And then I was opening on Saturday nights for the folk singer. And I was in show business, I was in so that's my Carl Gottlieb. So he was the one who got me in. That's what I'm saying.
And is there truth to a story that, as you were
None at all. It's a lie. It's all a lie.
No, but there's a story that I read about that I skimmed it, and I wanted to know if this was real, that you and Carl were, starving artists going up, that you took shrimp from a party and forgot.
Oh, that's great, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's true. Well, I'll tell you the story of it.
Yeah, sure.
What made me laugh. We were both starving. He was a writer on these local newspapers, not even, like the Times or the whatever. I mean, these are newspapers that were neighborhood newspapers. You know, they
Okay, yeah,
sold for blocks away. So he was starving.
yeah.
We had a walk up, a 4 or 5 flight walk up, you know, in Greenwich Village. You know, I think it was $75 a month or something. It was really weird. And only 1 bedroom, a living room, and a kitchen. The bathtub was in the kitchen. I don't know how they got that. I guess the pipes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's how, and I was busing, you know, from 2 to 6 a.m. Then that doesn't pay much money. So between the two, we'd eke out $75 a month. Plus, you know, stealing. I was stealing food from the bar to feed myself. It was a bar and grill. I would just take enough to eat, you know, for a day or two. And I didn't. Okay. Anyway, this is the shrimp. So he was reviewing movies. Now, back in the day, this was in the 60s, early 60s. All the movies, they would show movies to be reviewed. And whether you were in a neighborhood newspaper or the New York Times or Life magazine, you all watched the same movie at the same time. You know, they just invited all the reporters. So so what they would do is, and he did it, he would do these 3 or 4 times a week because a lot of movies were opening up and stuff. What they do is they serve you wine for the reporters, the reviewers, wine and the frozen shrimp, the bowls of frozen shrimp, you know, the
cocktail shrimp.
You know, the cocktail shrimp.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what they did, and that was always time. You get a glass of wine and you have some cocktail shrimp, and you go in and you get drunk, you see the movie, and you give it a great review. So what he would be doing is, I didn't have enough money. We didn't have it to feed myself sometimes, and I couldn't always steal from the bar. I didn't want to raise any red flags about what's happening to the food. So, you know, I got to be really careful. So what I would do, so he would now, and they also in those days, not only did you get wine and shrimp, but you got a real damask cloth or linen napkin, not this paper stuff, but real napkins from restaurants. So what he would do is he'd take a handful of shrimp, he would put it in a napkin, and he would put it in his pocket. Because the whole thing with the reviewing the movies, you had to wear a suit. For some reason, I don't know. Oh, so all the reporters, all the reviewers wear suits. So put it okay. And then he would bring back the shrimp in the thing, and that would be my dinner. Would be the cold shrimp. And I would save the linen napkins. I wouldn't throw them away. I would just hang them all over the apartment. So I had, like, you know, a lot, you know, 40 or
restaurants.
I don't know, a lot of napkins.
Yeah.
So we were keeping track of that. So that's the story. And then one day he came to me after I thought it was like a habit now. I got, okay, at least 2 or 3 days a week, Carl is going to bring me my dinner. He comes to me and he says, okay, I can't do this anymore. And I thought maybe I got caught or something. I don't know. I said, why not? He goes, because my suit is starting to smell like fish. I go, oh, I'm sorry. So there went that. So, and I wasn't going to pay for the cleaning. I didn't have enough money to pay for it. So that's the story. Yeah, we went through some times together. Hey man, what do you mean? I can't eat. I have to steal more, so I can't. So I had to quit. Because I had to steal more food. And so I didn't want to do that because, you know, the chef would say, hey man, what's going on? So what I would be doing was I'd wear a raincoat to work every night. Rain or shine, winter, summer. I got that from Harpo Marx. You know, the Marx Brothers.
Oh, okay.
The spoons, you know, he would steal spoons and ding, 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 you know, he'd like that. So I thought, hey, Harpo, cool. So I'd wear it. And I would stick rashers of bacon, you know, about, you know, one of those flat rashers of bacon. I would stick it in my back, in my belt, you know, in the back belt there. And then I put the raincoat over it, and I would only steal stuff that I could stick in my pockets, like small cans of, sausages or stuff, or the protein stuff. And I'll put that in my pocket, but sure it wouldn't bulge. So I had stuff only I could steal. I could take, I could purloin. I keep on using the word steal, like I'm a criminal. Well, of course I am, but small time. So I paid them back. No, I hadn't. And I would stand by the door, and at 6 a.m. the chef would come in, the morning chef would come in, and he would open. They would lock it from the outside. I never understood that. Well, the last person out, I would come in around 2 or a little before last call. I would just hang around and watch people, dropping peanut shells on the floor. So I would watch that. Then the last person would leave. They would lock the door from the outside. I never questioned it, but I didn't figure out why. I don't know. Maybe because so I couldn't open the door and let my friends in. Maybe that. Yeah. So anyway, so I had to wait for somebody to unlock the door from the outside in the morning to let me out. So I was trapped in there.
What?
Well, that's what he did. I mean, I don't know how, if the place caught on fire, I would break the front window and I mean, I don't know how I'd get out. It never occurred to me until I left the job, and I go, wait a minute, the place caught on fire. How the hell did I get out? Anyway, what I would do is I'd wait with my raincoat by the door. I would stand, with my back kind of to the wall on the side, and the door would be here. The door would open like that. Yeah. So the chef would come in, he'd open the door, and I'd say, "Hi, Marty, how you doing?" And I'd slink out. I would slide out, so I wouldn't turn my back on him. Maybe there's a bump back. And I would do that, and so that's what I did. But I couldn't do that too long. I mean, I was doing it for like maybe a week or two. Okay. And I thought, no, this is not. I'm going to get caught, or it's not right. I don't know. So I quit. Yeah. And well, I got one other job for one day, but I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I mean, I was getting enough laughs open mic nights to think, and then they started letting me, introduce for Friday nights and Saturday nights. I was the MC, so I could work on my stuff and still expand it. And then a manager came in and said, "Hey, you got a manager?" But that's all we wanted to do in Greenwich Village. We weren't there for fame or fortune.
It was really just to exist.
Just to get representation.
Oh,
that was the theory. That was the theory why you were in Greenwich Village. Yeah. So nobody was famous, but we all wanted. So if you got representation, you were like king of the village for that one night, or that one beer blast at the end of the night. Yeah. Hey, I got a representation. So I got representation. This guy named Jack Rollins. He said, "Well," I said, "Okay, you're." I said, "No," and he said, as I came off the stage, he said, "No." Do you have a representation? No. He says, "Do you want one?" I said, "Yeah, we all want one." And he said, "Okay, how about me?" Yeah. And I said, "Okay, right." Because I did, man. So he said, "Okay, my name is Jack Rollins. If anybody asks," I think he gave me a card, but I don't even think he had a card. Jack Rollins, if anybody asks, your manager is Jack Rollins. Remember that. I'll come in every once in a while, check, and we'll see, and we'll start working together. Okay, fine. So that night, I remember, sitting around having beers with, after work with the other comedians. And I announced I had, "Hey man, I got representation," and it was, "Oh wow, man, you got representation." I go, "Yeah, who is it?" "I don't know, this guy named Jack Rollins." And everybody said, "You got Jack Rollins? You don't know who Jack Rollins is, right?"
No, I don't.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, nobody did back then except comedians, and my friends were all comedians, and they go, "Wow, Jack Rollins was Woody Allen's manager."
Okay.
And Woody was becoming big. He was still in the village, but he was in nightclubs in the village. Yeah. But he was famous, and he would pack his nightclubs every night. Yeah. And I had his man. And so that was like that was a gift out of I don't know where, out of somebody else's future. I had that wasn't mine. But that's what and then I started to be, and then what happened was I started to become a what do you call it? A critical thinking comedian. I was just being funny, stuff I saw. I was doing marijuana jokes.
Yeah.
It's the village, in
Yeah.
the
Right.
early
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah.
I was doing what I saw around and making fun of it and stuff. But once he started booking me in nightclubs, Jack Rollins, and I was opening for Woody for
Woody Allen.
sort of uptown, maybe I think on 12th Street or 11th Street. I was getting uptown was the thing. First you get representation,
Yeah.
then you get into nightclubs, then you
Yeah.
go uptown, and
Yeah.
then you start booking around the country. That's the
Yeah.
Stations of the Cross. So I
Okay.
was like uptown, and I was getting booked around. But and I was opening for Woody, but I started to notice that Woody would kill. He would get laughs. He would pack the place, and I would open for these packed audiences, and I would be really funny because they were a comedy crowd. Comedy crowds come to laugh,
Yeah.
just
Right.
like music
Yeah.
people come
Yeah.
to hear music.
Right.
Comedy people want to laugh. That's what they're there for. It's really amazing. So in the beginning, everybody was laughing, but that started to die. Houses were packed, but
Yeah.
I was starting to get less and less laughs. Generally you get more and more as you got better and better.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out until I started to see, I was watching George Carlin, Richie Pryor, and I said, oh, critical thinking. I was starting to
Okay. Yeah.
get into politics and religion and sex and drugs and rock and roll. Critical thinking.
Yeah.
So Woody's audience wasn't my audience.
Oh.
He was a white bread kind of
Yeah.
middle class Jewish kind of upscale, yeah, but still wasn't my audience. It wasn't a rock and roll crowd, and that would come later. I called Jack and I said, "Look, I can't open for Woody anymore. It's not my audience." And he said, "Oh, cool, you discovered that," because he kind of knew, we would go like that. He knew. So he said, "Okay, we gotta go on your own. I'm gonna get you to book big acts now." So I was opening for Ian and Sylvia, the Kingston Trio, Miles Davis, just get to see where my audience was. He just wanted me to find my audience. And it was pretty much the jazz crowd, and it was, and I wanted to get into rock. I wanted to get into the college crowd. And so the Love and Spoonful wanted me to go on tour with them as the opening act instead of a local rock band that they picked up in each town. They say, "Why don't you travel with us?" Because they love my work. I mean, I knew Zal, and I knew the band because we started in Greenwich Village together. They were playing next door. They were coming to see me, so we had a history together. So, and I thought, oh, the college crowd, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah. And the first night at Washington University in, I guess it was, I don't know, Louisiana, Alabama, one of those, Missouri, I think it was Missouri. And a college crowd, oh my, wow, and I had got my best material for my college crowd, my thinking crowd. And they booed me, man.
Oh.
What? Yeah, I put my hands up like this. I go, shut up. I talked to them. I was doing a routine. And then they go, boo, we want to hear the funny stuff. Tell the funny stuff. I'm telling you the funny stuff. This is the funny stuff. What are you talking about? The clean stuff. The clean stuff. Oh man, are you kidding? So I started to talk to them, just no performance. Hey. There's a big, like 2,000 people in the audience. And I go, what are you doing? You're booing me, and you're supposed to be hip. I confronted them. with their unhipness. I said, you're supposed to be hip. You're a college crowd. What the hell? What are you talking about? Why are you booing me? I was hot, and they shut up. They
Yeah.
whoa, and they just became college students, Uh-oh, the teacher is
Yeah.
hollering, they shut up. And so when they shut up, I thought, oh, okay, I chastised them. They
Yeah.
got it. I can continue. So I goes, okay, thank you. And I just went on with my sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And now they were pulling off the armrests of the old time movie house theaters with the
Right.
wooden armrests.
Yeah.
They were pulling them off. If you knock them from behind, you can pull them off to remove them. They were and throwing them at me.
My God.
Oh yeah, man, and I'm ducking. I mean, if one of them hit me, I would have been in the hospital. I mean, it's the worse than bottles. These are fucking wood, man.
Yeah.
And so, the first 3 rows was just get off the stage, because I had fooled them, right? I had quieted them down. They became calm, and then I just went on with my. So they didn't like that at all.
Oh,
So I
wow.
said, okay. So I spoke to him again. I said, stop. Okay. I mean, this is ridiculous. And 11 Spoonful are laughing their asses off in the wings. Oh man, no, do the dirty stuff, because they wanted a riot. They wanted the publicity.
Yeah.
So no, do the dirty stuff. Do the dirty stuff. Keep talking. No. So you have clean stuff, and so I picked and chose in my head. And I said, okay, I'll do the clean stuff. So I was doing the clean stuff, and then they just forgot that they booed. It was just they went back into being an audience. They were ha 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 ha.
Oh.
And so I thought, well, and then I got a big laugh on something clean.
Yeah.
So I just switched immediately. I was talking about a naked guy and what that was between his legs. I mean, it was that's what set them off, like that. Hey, what's that between your legs? I was playing God. So I was doing sex and God, sex and religion. And they just couldn't take it. Hey, what's that between your legs? So that's what started them booing. So when I got this clean laugh, big laugh, about 10 minutes, into it, I thought, oh, I got them. Now they won't boo anymore.
Yeah.
So I immediately went, okay, so what's that between your legs? And they just went freaking. Oh, fuck you. And the guys, and then the lights went on.
Yeah.
The lights went on. I mean, so somebody signaled, okay, turn the lights on. That's it for him. Yeah. And so, first of all, I could see the audience. And the guys in the back, because the first 3 rows had thrown all their armrests, they didn't have any more. And the 5 and 6 were too far to throw them.
Yeah.
So the guys in the back were pulling them off and passing their armrests down for ammunition for the guys in the front to throw them. So I see them, boom, boom, boom. Ah!
What the hell?
And then 20, count them 20. Cops came marching down each wall aisle, 10 on each side, and they came up on both sides of the stage, and they put them on, not very rough. I don't think they even knew why they were doing this. Somebody said, get this guy off the stage. That was all.
Right.
It was a dean, I found out later, it was a dean back there. The dean had called him the first time.
Right.
Even before I quieted him down the first time. When I started to be blah, 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 the dean called the cops immediately.
Yeah.
And the cops showed up when I was doing my clean stuff by the time they got there. So they waited in the back, and they think, well, he's not doing anything dirty. Why are we here? And the dean said, well, wait, let's see. And sure enough, later I just started to do the dirty stuff. Hey, what's that between your legs? And the dean says, okay, get him off the stage. So they came marching down, and they said, you have to get off the stage. So I said, fine, I'm not going to argue with 20 policemen.
Yeah.
And the crowd just was in awe of this thing happening in front of them. like that.
I'm
So
not,
they marched me backstage, and the 11 spoonful were waiting backstage.
yeah,
They took me off, and then 18 of the cops, because they left 2 cops with me
yeah,
backstage, just standing there.
yeah,
And the 11 spoonful say, "Hey man, he's really funny. I mean, why are you doing?" They try to.
yeah,
But the 18 cops just left. They just marched off the stage, left 2 cops with me, and kept on going. Didn't
yeah,
say goodbye, nothing. Just got out of there because they didn't know why they were there. And I said, "Why are you standing here? I'm off the stage. It's over. Well, why are you?" And they said, "We have instructions to guard you
what?
until the Lovin' Spoonful play their first number, so you don't run on the stage and start again."
Oh, it's for
I
their
said, "Are you serious?" I mean, it's over, man. Meanwhile, they took me up 10 minutes before I was supposed to, finish.
Yeah,
So the Lovin' Spoonful and their crew, to move the drums and everything out there, they're meanwhile rushing to get, because they weren't ready yet.
yeah,
And so there's nothing going on. The audience is starting, "Hey man, bring on the Lovin' Spoonful," and they were getting rowdy out there.
yeah, yeah.
So finally they started to play, and then the cops just split. They didn't say goodbye or thank you.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. They just left. So that was but the rest of the tour was not like that. I got my college crowd, but the first one was kind of scary because it's down south. I think it was maybe like a Christian religious university. I think
Oh, okay.
Washington University. That was the name of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but that's how that was my start in show business, just
Wow.
learning what
Yeah.
all that was about.
Yeah. Now, so we will yeah, we will review we'll come back with more with Larry Hankin because we have a bunch of your movies that I want to get some stories on from you that I've heard. Little things I want to see if these are true or not. So
Okay.
we're gonna come right back. We're gonna tell you about 4041 Media, and we'll see you on the other side of this. Hey there, it's Nick coming to you from a little bit in the future, editing this video and podcast. So our sponsors are always great for us. Thanks to adamandeve.com. Use the offer code MTTM at checkout to get a bunch of discounts and also anything we need because we all need discounts nowadays, especially if you're looking for the late gift or something else. By all means, go right ahead and do that. We have 4041 Media. 4041media.com is our site for its premier group for podcast and gathering of media professionals and influencers and everything for us in the Fall River, Massachusetts area. And also, just to mention, there is movietheatertimemachine.com. Go to our website so you can go ahead, check us out, and we can entertain you. You can sign up and you can keep in touch with us through that website now. Merry Christmas to all. Now back to the Larry Hankin interview.
So I got the costume. Jerry Parrish was the director. So I went in, I showed up on the set. Now, I don't know if you know this, but in TV, it's still to this day, the people who cast you are not the people who direct you.
Right.
There's the casting, and then when you get there, there's two different people.
Yeah.
So the director doesn't hire you. So when you get on the set, he's meeting you for the first time, even though you auditioned for somebody else. Anyway, so I showed up on the set, and Jerry Paris, the director, wouldn't talk to me, or he would, he just wouldn't talk to me. He ignored me. Not that he wouldn't talk to me. He just would stay away from me. I mean, if I talked to him, he'd answer me, but and through the whole shoot, he maybe would say, stand over there, but they would say it from a distance. He would just say, you stand over there. I really confused me. I don't know, but I did the whole show, blah, blah, blah. And many years later, maybe a year later, I was at a party and there was Jerry Paris. And I go, hey, Jerry, do you remember? Yeah. And I had been on other shows, so he recognized me. And he says, I said, why didn't you talk to me? I never figured that out.
Yeah.
You remember when I was the Hell's Angel? And he goes, oh, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, well, I thought you were a Hell's Angel. I thought they hired a Hell's Angel. And I didn't want to give you any directions because I didn't want to start a fight. And I thought you had wrecked the place. So I just ignored you. You thought I was a Hell's Angel? Yeah, I did. He was being very honest. And there was another time when this happened again.
Yeah.
Where in the Armed and Dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, that's the one. That's the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
I was on acid.
Yeah.
That was the character. The character was I was on acid, Kokolovich.
Yeah.
And I wore a headband, like like a gang.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were handing out the guns. And the guns and flashlight. We were a hired, a hired cop, that kind of thing. And with John Candy and the other guy and I don't know who. So I was on acid and I got in costume and I was playing on acid. So when I get a character, just to remind me, I mean, it's just like habit. I'll go, like I, the character. I wouldn't do that. Or where do you want me to stay? So I refer to myself as the character. So he said, the director, so they're giving out the gun. Now, John Candy is behind me. So we're standing in the line. John Candy is behind me. And they're handing out the guns, a gun and a flashlight, That's it. That's the scene. There's no talking. Here's your gun, here's your flashlight, next. Here's your gun, here's your flashlight, next. That's the scene, period. Okay, so I go, now I'm on acid. That's my character. And I thought, okay, you always try to act within what your character's purview is, what his point of view is. So I thought, what would a guy on acid, how would he receive a gun and a flashlight? That's like a guy on acid. So I thought, well, because I've been through this before, with the booing and the, critical thinking. So I didn't want to get too far out with the gun. So I thought, well, the flashlight, the acid and the flashlight. So I thought, well, I'll just get the flashlight, and the flashlights, all the flashlights had batteries in them. The prop department was very, very good with that. And it was a big budget, so batteries in the flashlight. So when I got the flashlight, and there's no rehearsal for this. They just said, hey, line up and get your guns, right? John, you get behind Larry, okay. Or get behind Kokolovich. Get behind Kokolovich. Okay. Boom. Here's your gun. When I got the flashlight, I just turned it on and stared into it as I walked in.
I was thinking that.
Right. So it's really funny. So the director immediately yelled, "Cut," and everybody fell down laughing, just like you're laughing now. I'm going like that, and everybody go, "Oh," because he yelled, "Cut." You can,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So everybody goes, "What was the cut for?"
Yeah.
So the director comes over to me and he says, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" He said, "Well, what is this? When you turn on a flashlight, you're looking into it. What the hell is that?" So I said,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm on acid." Well, that's all the director had to hear.
Oh, no.
And he
Oh,
believed me. He believed me. He
Yeah.
believed that I was on acid because I
Yeah.
said, "I'm on acid."
Yeah.
He
Imagine.
said, "Well,"
Yeah.
so he backed off.
Yeah.
He goes, "You what?"
Yeah.
I said, "I'm on acid." So I'm looking into the flashlight. It's acid. So he goes, "All right, don't do that. All right, we're going to do the scene again. Don't do that. Don't look into the flashlight. We're going to do the scene again." So they lined up, and he did it. So I didn't look into the flashlight. I mean, he's the director. What
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
So I have to go blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and we go through the scene, and he goes, "Okay, moving on."
Yeah.
And we start to tear down the set, and the cinematographer, who was a big time cinematographer, that I knew. He'd done a lot of big time movies.
Yeah.
He said, I've never seen this done in all my years in Hollywood. I have never, ever seen a cinematographer ever speak
Yeah.
to a cast member or anybody except the director.
Yeah.
And the cinematographer says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? What happened to the flashlight thing?"
Yeah.
So the director said, I cut it.
Yeah.
We said, "Why did you cut it?" So now there's a discussion going on, and this is a big movie, so everybody's starting to gather around. And he said, "Well, that was the cinematographer said that's funny."
Yeah.
So the director said, "It's not funny. He's on acid."
Yeah.
So he said, "The I don't care what he's on. It's funny."
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so this is, well, it's not going in. We're moving on.
Yeah.
But the cinematographer, who I've never seen this done, he goes, "Look, all right, hold it. Everybody, just hold it. Don't do anything." He says to his crew, "Don't touch anything." Okay, and he says to the director, I would like to shoot this one more time and let him do the flashlight thing." So he said, "No." So they're fighting there, and this is crazy, man. This is a big budget.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Yeah.
And because in movies, time is money. That's
Right.
like
Yeah.
not fucking around, man.
Yeah.
So the cinematographer says, "Well, I'm not going to tell the guys to move on until we do the shooting again." So now the director, there's a first time director. So he had to listen.
Yeah.
So he said, all right, okay. All right, let's shoot it again. Everybody, we're going to shoot the scene again, and then we're moving on. Okay, we're only doing this once.
Yeah.
The cinematographer says, "Okay." So we shoot it again. I look into the thing. Now I look into the thing, and then John Candy's got his gun and flashlight. So I do my thing. There's a silence. He gets his gun. You got to run through the whole scene.
Yeah.
Last guy gets his thing, cut, and everybody laughs. They were holding it in.
Yeah.
So the cinematographer comes over and he says, "Well," to the director, because everybody's laughing. What the cinematographer said, this is important.
Yeah.
What the cinematographer said was when he says, "Okay, we're going to do it again," because he knew it was his first time directing. He couldn't argue with the crew was not going to move unless the cinematographer said move.
Oh, okay.
So he had to give in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he said, "But that is just once and then moving on."
Yeah.
So the cinematographer said, "Okay." He made an announcement to his crew. He said, this is really weird. He said, "Can I have all the members of my crew, the lighting, the camera crew, which is the lighting people and the camera people." He said, "All the members of my crew who are not working this set, this scene, I want you to gather around the set here and just watch this scene."
Yeah.
And so everybody said, "What the fuck is going on, man?" So
Yeah.
you see them coming out of the woodwork. There's
Yeah.
some of them are playing cards. They
Yeah.
weren't in the scene.
Yeah.
And they're coming around, gathered around, and it's, "Fuck is this all about?" So he said, "All right, I just want you to watch the scene. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, let's run the scene again. Larry, do the flashlight thing. Okay, so now the cinematographer is directing. Larry, do that. John, you do that. Everybody. Okay, and action. Da da da. Boom. Blah blah. Laugh. Okay. So and then the cinematographer says, "Well," and so the cinematographer says, and so the director goes, "Okay," very grudgingly. "Okay, moving on. Okay."
Yeah.
So the cinematographer says, "And we will work it out in post." Okay. And he says, "Okay, well, all right. Well, so now
Yeah.
cut to about 3 months later. So that's the mistake. The
Yeah.
director thought I was on acid. The other guy thought I was a Hell's Angel.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the answer. Now, the ending of this was about 2 or 3 months later when they're having a screening of the movie, when it's all finished editing and everything.
Yeah.
The director is waiting, this first-time director, James, his name is James, something. His brother is a movie actor.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
the director is waiting outside of the screening room, and when he sees me coming in, he pulls me aside.
Yeah.
Pulls me aside and he says, "Look, I got to explain something to you." I go, "What?" He says, "First of all, you understand I thought you were on acid when we were shooting the movie." I go, "Yeah, I know that." He says, "So I want to apologize for that, for, talking to you weirdly. I just didn't want to disturb you because I thought you were on acid and you'd freak out. So I'm sorry about that." Okay. I said, "All right, thank you very much." He said, "But now you're going to watch the movie and I got to explain something to you."
Yeah.
I go, "Now what?" He goes, "Look, I thought you were on acid.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if you understand making movies, but you understand matching shots.
Yep.
What it is if you got a close-up on me talking to you, then
Yeah.
you have to have a matching shot of a close-up of you listening to me talking to you. So
Right.
it's matching.
Yeah.
Okay. So he said, "No, I was in a lot of scenes,
Yeah.
just as another cop, and another hired cop. I was in a lot of scenes, but a lot of times people would say stuff. I had lines, so
Right.
people would talk to me and I talk to them, matching shots." So he said, the director, going into the screening, he said, "I really did believe that you were on acid, so I didn't do any of your coverage because I thought since you were on acid, you would be cut out of the movie." So there's a lot of scenes here where people are talking to you and I have their close up and I don't have any coverage on you. I just was saving time. So I just moved on after I got their close up. So they're talking to you, and then I had to cut to a master shot,
Oh.
which is just a coverage of the entire scene from
Yeah.
beginning to end.
Right. Yeah.
Meaningless.
Yeah.
So he said, so a lot of the times there's a close-up of the person talking to you, and then there's a close-up of the wide master shot. That's on purpose because we didn't have any coverage of you because I thought you were on acid. Now, in some instances, there is some coverage.
Yeah.
Not a master shot, but maybe a 2 shot, or maybe something I had to get,
Mm.
and you were in it. He said, the producers, when I cut the movie, when the director cut the movie, you were out of it. I cut you out of the movie.
Oh.
Unless when somebody was talking and you had to see who he was talking to, I went to the master shot. Other than that, you were not in the movie. I cut you out. I had first cut. He said, however, when the producers saw the movie, they said, "What the fuck happened to Hankin?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, he was on acid. I cut him out." And the producer said, "Acid, schmacid. He's a funny guy. I want you to put him back in the movie and everything you have on him."
Wow.
So the director said, me and the editor had to go through all of the footage over and over to
Yeah.
find all the shots of you we threw away
Oh,
to put you
What?
back in the movie. Yeah.
Wow.
This is fucking incredible. And so and then I went in to see the movie, and it was a it's not a very good movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny,
Yeah.
but the herky jerky of me, sometimes there was an answering shot to me, sometimes there was a master shot, sometimes it was a 3-shot. It was just all over the place. I mean, it just didn't work. But I got my laugh when I did this. The audience broke up. It's probably one of the bigger laughs in the movie. You know, the other thing was I don't know. Is that it? Can I tell you more? Or
Please do. Yeah. Yes.
The other thing about that, because
Yeah.
it was really funny. Once I understood what was going on,
Yeah.
it was very funny.
Yeah.
There was one point, because he didn't even want to be in it. He didn't want to be during the shoot of the movie. The director didn't want to deal with me at all. I mean,
Right.
he had a guy on acid on the set, and he didn't want to cause any trouble.
Right.
So he had in his mind, had to direct. That was another obstacle that he had to work with.
Mm.
You know,
And
an unknown
yeah.
actor who might freak at any time.
Yeah.
Was what was going through his mind.
Yeah.
So he tried to stay away from me as much as possible, which really weirded me out. But okay, so there was one scene where we had to go to a garbage dump.
Yeah.
It was just John Candy, Eugene Levy, me, and a second unit of just 3 people: camera, sound, and an extra guy to help both of the other guys out.
Yep.
Okay, so 6 people.
Yeah.
The director wasn't there. He sent us to the garbage dump. He doesn't do garbage dumps. He doesn't direct garbage dumps. And he doesn't direct acid actors. So he wasn't even there. He sent us out, 6 people. He said, go to this garbage dump and do pickup shots of finding stuff in the garbage heap. Because there was some plot line about something was missing.
Yeah.
I don't even understand why the scene was in the movie. It's in the movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So we go out there, John Candy, Eugene Levy, me, and the 6 people. And we don't even know why we're there. It's not a scene really in the movie.
Right.
You know, in the script.
Yeah.
It was kind of an added on thing, or I don't know why, but just go out there and find stuff that's funny was the instructions we had. So we're out there just, you know, we drive out there and we're in the middle of nowhere. We don't have a script. You know, it's a camera, a second unit.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I just want to say to Hollywood in particular, if I ever do a movie and shoot a movie, I just want to do it with second unit guys.
Yeah.
Second unit is the best.
Yeah.
They're the best because they're loose, man.
Yeah.
It's second unit.
Yeah.
It's, you know, they're you know, shoot a gun and run, man. They're great. And they get it. They get it. Okay. So we're wandering around trying to figure out what's funny about garbage, man. Whoa. And so we're wandering around, picking up, going like, hey, is this funny? Is this funny? What do you think? So we're wasting time, you know. Hey, how about this? What do we do with this? So, and there's no director.
Yeah, right.
The camera, the second unit, and we're all actors. So finally, John Candy takes over. So this is a story about how great, funny John Candy is.
Yeah.
So Eugene and me said, John said, well, I can direct. You know, I want to do. So he said, you direct. No, I don't want to direct. Eugene, you know, and the camera guy, you want to direct? No, I don't want to direct. So John says, let me direct. So yeah, okay, John's directing. Okay. So he goes, okay, everybody, now John's first direction. Okay, everybody, just go out and find something.
Yeah.
Funny or not, just find something. So me and Eugene and John, we just go up. So I picked up an old shoe.
Yeah.
So I bring it back and say, well, what about this? So John says, yeah, that's good. Eugene came back with something.
Yeah.
John had nothing.
Yeah.
So the cameraman is standing around. I'm holding a shoe,
Yeah.
and John Candy is saying. So he turns to the cameraman, and they're in this garbage dump. It's a big, huge garbage dump,
Yeah.
and there's garbage, mountains of garbage, 2 stories high, that of garbage. Just,
Oh man.
you know. So we're standing around. So John says to the cameraman, where can he find this shoe? Where can Larry find this shoe?
Yeah.
So the cameraman, he's got the camera, he's looking around. I mean, we're looking for a movie, is what we're doing, right? We're shooting a big budget movie and we're looking for it. So a big budget funny movie. So he's looking around, he says, well, what about there? What about, and he points to a mountain of garbage. He says, what about if he found it up there?
Yeah.
So John says, oh, that's great. Larry, climb that mountain and find the shoe up on top of that mountain. I go, well, I pictured it in my mind and I said, it is funny.
Yeah.
I have to climb a mountain of garbage 2 stories high. So he says, go ahead, we'll wait. Oh, thank you. So I start climbing up garbage. It's garbage, man. You don't want to do, and I got to hold the shoe. I can't. Oh, by the way, wait.
Yeah.
Before he says, find it up there, as I start to leave,
Yeah.
John Candy bends down. He picks up an old broken comb with a lot of the teeth missing. He
Yeah.
said, find this up there too.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I get it. Yeah, screw, comb,
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Right.
All right, so I climb up the
Yeah.
fucking, and it's garbage all over me, because a lot of it is
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get up there and I thought, oh wow, man, this is so cool. And they're like little dots down there.
Yeah.
And he says, you ready? And I go, yeah. He says, okay. John Candy says, and action, Larry. So I bend down and I find the shoe and a comb. Oh no, what I did was I found the other shoe.
What?
A miracle.
Yes, hey, I found the other one. That's what I said. I found the other one. And then I slip and I fall into the garbage. I disappear down. I go, and I'm gone. It was really funny. That was funny too in the movie. So John Candy was a good director. He's a really funny guy, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
Home Alone, I was with him. He's
Yeah.
funny, man.
Yeah. And you've done
The
a
thing
lot.
about
Yeah.
the thing about John Candy being funny is he's so kind of overweight and normal looking,
Yeah.
but you don't expect him to be funny. That's why
Right.
he's funny.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just don't. He's this normal guy,
Yeah.
and he eats a lot of Fritos and stuff, and you go, and then he just says something that's just so off the wall. You just woo. But he's really funny. Okay, that's my story.
Great.
Yeah, that's the mistaken identity stuff.
You've gone through a lot of roles, and I mean, pretty much as we said before, like the Kevin Bacon game could be 6 degrees of Larry Hankin. What
Why don't you
is?
start that?
Should we? Why not? Yeah.
Start that. See if it gets any
Good
purchase.
checks? Yeah. So what?
Hey, it didn't hurt bacon,
No, see what it does. But what is your? I mean, I know there's advice in the book for that guy for actors, but
Well, right, I'll tell you.
what is your advice as an ending moment for this interview? What is your advice for people who want to get into this?
Forget it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, it's very rare that anybody becomes a star or even
Yeah.
makes a living. Do you know, you people out there?
Yeah.
Do you know how many people want to be an actor? I didn't. I never did.
Yeah.
Still don't, and I don't want to be. I never wanted to be an actor. I became it because I did it for the money. And if you're in it for the money, forget it. Now, I made money. So I made the right choice, but I
Right.
made money for something, to make movies. I've made 30 film shorts. That's what I did. I could have bought a house, several houses. I could have bought 2 houses. But I made movies instead, and I paid for all of them myself. So, but that's why I became an actor, not to become an actor, not to become a star, because I thought it's the only way I could keep a job, keep my interest up, and make a lot of money quickly. But if you get jobs, but what you have to go through to get jobs is not worth it, unless you want to do it for another reason, like making movies or making enough money to buy 2 houses.
Yeah.
If you want to do that,
Yeah.
cool.
Money.
Yeah. Do it for housing. Okay.
Do it, but other than that, my advice is no, don't do it unless, and there's only one unless, you have such an case of OCD, fire in your belly, that you stay awake at night, chomping at the bit to memorize stuff. That's the only reason to be an actor, because you love memorizing things.
Oh man.
Telephone books, anything.
Yeah.
And they'll give you like scripts and you can memorize pages and pages. Not me, not me. So that's my advice.
So when is the book coming out?
September 15th, 2023, unfortunately.
We're gonna look
A
forward.
long time away.
Yeah. We're gonna
Well, I signed the contract and I had a bad agent.
Yeah. We're
You know,
gonna
you get all head up about, oh, I want to get this out. I want to sign a contract. I want to sign a contract.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the first contract you signed, you're going to be cheated. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Nowhere around. My agent said, Larry, this is my first agent. He gave me advice I remembered all my life, up until now, anyway. So he said, remember this, Larry, because I was complaining about and celebrating what he thought. Hey, we signed the contract. Oh, great. He said, what are you celebrating? We signed the contract. We signed the contract. He said, Larry, if we signed the contract, it means they won.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you mean by that? He said, because if they weren't winning, we'd still be negotiating. They don't sign a contract unless they're winning. So if we signed a contract, that means you haven't found how they won. You've been cheated and you don't even know it yet. You'll find out in about 3 or 4 months when you read the fine print. And me too. You know, he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to them. He said, when they sign a contract, it means they won.
Wow.
A priori, that's they don't sign contracts and let you win. Are you serious? It's a corporation.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Wow. So we want to thank you very much for being on the show with us.
Sorry, I'm such a downer.
No, you're cracking us up entirely. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for being a part of this universe.
When the book comes out, let's do this again. You know,
we will. We will do
cool.
this. We will definitely do this again, and we'll see you next time around.
Okay.
All of us
Take it easy.
All of us in the movie theater time machine universe, be good, take care of yourself, but don't be too good.
Rock on.